Bing, bong, boom. It's Mr. Worldwide when I step in the room. I'm a hustler, baby. You already know it's your boy, Big 38.
Yes, sir. And it is Coach Carey, and we're back with another episode for you and all our fans out there. I got to start off real quick. Hot start. Are you ready? Ole Miss ranked in the top 10. I need a reaction. You know, that's the alma mater. 4-year starter there. Come on, talk to me. How happy are you to see the Ole Miss Rebels in the top 10 in the college football rankings?
All I can say is, are you ready? Hell yeah. Damn right. Hotty toddy, gosh almighty, who the hell are we? Hey, flim, flam, bam, bam, Ole Miss, by damn. I mean, them boys, watching them play Kentucky, you could tell, like, it's a defensive-oriented team now. They've driven the bus with the defense. Defense making stops, getting picks, causing fumbles at the end of the game. Defense has really stepped up, and seeing, people that were there my senior year, their freshman year, and seeing how far they've come, see how far they've grown as being the leaders on the team and doing that stuff, I think it's been cool. And, Coach Kiffin's doing a great job with the energy on the sideline, the energy that he brings, and just the offensive mindset that he brings to the offense and stuff like that. So I think those boys are rolling. They had Vandy this past week. They let Vandy get up, but then they came back and, Mingo had, I think, this year has the most yards by a wide receiver.
He's going off.
Has the school record for as many yards in a single game.
Does he really?
He went. It's like, what he had, like I think it was like 247. That's crazy. That's quarterback numbers.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, he went crazy,
in the SEC nonetheless.
Yeah, even though Vandy's one of the lower tier teams, it's still an SEC opponent.
Hey, SEC is SEC.
But I think as long as they keep their heads on right and don't get too cocky and stay in the moment, I think the gauntlet's about to start. You got the Alabamas coming up, the Auburns, the Texas A&Ms. You got LSU coming up, so they got to survive that gauntlet. And,
those are some teams right there. Those teams that you just spoke about, Alabama ranked in the top 10, obviously, number one. Texas A&M doing well this year. LSU,
they almost beat Alabama.
Well, yeah, that was a good game. I don't know. You watched that this weekend?
I didn't watch, but I saw the highlights, with Bryce Young being hurt.
Yeah.
But
we'll
see. Ain't no easy opponent in the SEC.
Hey, not at all. SEC is, that's what they say. The SEC is the SEC the best conference? It's not even a question.
That's why everybody wants to join the SEC. You see where Oklahoma and Texas are going next year. It is what it is. It's SEC then Big Ten. It's SEC then Big Ten than everybody else.
I could agree with that because you got the Ohio States, the Penn States, Michigan. Yeah. Hey, Lane Kiffin, he's great for college football. Being from when he was at FAU, the things he's doing on Twitter, the way he's using social media to his advantage. I think that's so good for the growth of college football right now, especially in this NIL kind of time frame that we're in right now, because I think he's bringing a lot of attention, positive attention to Ole Miss, and having them ranked in the top 10. I'm sure he's doing everything he can for his guys in the NIL realm, but just to have them in the top 10 and then it being one of the top coaches in the country right now, Ole Miss is really getting, they're on top right now. I mean, how can you argue not? What are they ranked? 9th, I believe.
9th in the AP and coaches poll.
Hey, that's something to be proud of. Must feel good to have played for them, huh?
Yeah, hotty toddy.
Let's go.
Land Sharks to the
Land Sharks. Yes, sir. But hey, let me ask you a question right now. Right now, a lot of talks in the NFL about concussion protocol and injuries and things of that sort. I'm sure you saw the Tua hit, which hope Tua's feeling better. I don't ever want to see anybody get hurt like that, especially in the concussions coming from someone that's had a bunch. But how do you, as a player, feel that the league's doing to help you guys out, or how do you just, give me your thoughts on Tua's situation and then other situations in the league, maybe even talking about lower body injuries with, Some people are talking about the turf being the reason, but what's your thoughts on it? Being in the league, being around it, hearing all the outside noise, but also being a part of the NFL organization.
I would say especially with the concussions, I think the NFL has a lot of steps that they can get better at, obviously, but it's also on the player to be real with themselves and not put themselves in harm's way to play a game. Because you could go through all these tests, and sometimes people don't pay attention to the first time, so they got a good score or a bad score, and then the second time they got a crazy score. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take this time when you're doing a concussion protocol test and all that stuff, and really focus on what you're doing, because again, this is what's going to keep you from not taking playing through a concussion, doing all that stuff. And obviously there's doctors who can help along with those different tests that we do, but it's the NFL is trying to take the steps to do it the proper way. And the Tua situation is definitely difficult. I didn't see the first time when he felt wobbled out.
The first concussion or lack thereof, maybe.
Lack thereof, and seeing the second one, that was just scary. You see his hands clenched. Yeah, his hands is what did it for a lot of people. Like, you see that, you kind of thought, oh, maybe his hand was broke, and then you see the replay, and it's like, oh no, that was a shock to the body of him, trying to cradle himself.
He was knocked out. Yeah. He had to be knocked out cold.
It's scary to see that, and as a player, you never want to see somebody get hurt like that, because again, we're playing this game that we love, but it's not who we are. A lot of people got a lot of different things that they have passions for and do stuff for. This sport only is supposed to take you to where you want to be later on in life, and to elevate you, to play at the highest level. But to see someone go out like that, it's kind of scary, because again, you never know if that could happen to you. Just like Inky Johnson didn't know it would happen to him when he got hurt. You never know if that play, whatever, you could be making a simple tackle, you could be making a simple throw. You never know if that play can be the last play.
One play away.
With all the concussions, then the ACLs with this turf. I'm not a big fan of turf. I think turf is,
you guys are grass in Carolina?
We were grass my rookie year, and then we switched to turf my second year, and now it's still turf. I think it's more of a business decision for owners, because with grass, if you think about it, you can't really have events. You can't have concerts. You can't have all that stuff, because then the grass just gets messed up. Which, the NFL is a business, so these, owners want to, they want as much money they can get from using their stadium. You know what I'm saying? So I don't feel like that's something I'm not a big fan of turf with the turf burns, and then some turfs are kind of stiffer than others. You can tell by just walking on them. You're like, yo, I plant in my foot, it don't move. You know what I'm saying? With grass, it kind of gives with the foot. It's not saying the turf is the ultimate reason why people are tearing the ACL, hurting lower body injuries. But again, it can be a big, difference in the way different injuries are happening and stuff like that. So
for sure,
that's my opinion on that stuff. What about you from the concussion standpoint? Someone that's had concussions. How did you feel when you saw Tua go down, and seeing Sterling Shepard, with the ACL, being a Giants fan, all that. So how did you feel in those two situations?
Having about 10 concussions in my life, and concussions being the ultimate reason why my football career stopped, I don't want to see anybody get them. But at the same time, I understand that in football, you sign up knowing that that's a risk. And I think Joe Burrow came out and said that, they get paid. He said, we get paid handsomely knowing the risk that we're taking, and the crazy thing is, it's at the level that you're playing, the risk is a lot higher. The speed is faster. The guys are bigger than in high school and college a lot of times. But at the end of the day, anybody that plays the sport knows knows that at the end of the day, it's a risk that you take. But to see somebody go down the way Tua did was definitely a scary sight to see. His hand gets curled up, and him came out of the game the week before for a similar reason, thinking that he had a concussion, and then him being back, it's like, can you blame anybody really, because at the same time, like as a player, I know from when I played, you had to drag me off the field. You weren't going to, the competitiveness in me, it really took a lot for me to not, play. And the fact that a doctor had to tell me that I couldn't play anymore in front of my mom, and my mom was like, yeah, you can play, but you got to get out of my house, or you cannot play and you got a place to stay. That was a big eye opener for me. Concussions are no joke. They can take people's lives. They can cause a lot of damage down the road. And I think, the whole CTE thing is a scary thing to even talk about. But it's a conversation that needs to be had, because we need to figure out ways to prevent. And if not prevent, then how do we cope with it as we get older? Because I think the biggest thing in the league right now is not necessarily guys played in the league knowing that's a risk, but they want to know, like, is there anything that's going to help them after the fact? And the guys of the past didn't have that option. There was no, hey, we got this doctor you can see, we got that doctor you see. And we're lucky in that we live in 2022, this age of technology and how everything's growing, because they're finding different ways to cope with stuff like this. So I think knowing the risk comes with playing football, whether you're a Mighty Mite at 7 years old or whether you're 32 playing in your 8th, 9th year in the NFL. Everybody plays knowing the risk, but you can't play scared, so you don't even think about it. I think that's the biggest thing. And, that kind of the playing scared thing kind of goes back to the lower leg injuries too. You're seeing a lot of these guys with, like you said, Sterling Shepard, just jogging and tearing his ACL. Like, that's crazy to me. The fact that he's not even cutting, because, a lot of times ACL injuries happen from cutting and things like that. But to see him just jog and that happen, something's got to change. And the league has to figure out a way to minimize these lower leg injuries. Too many ACLs are being torn, too many Achilles are being torn, MCLs, meniscuses, all these lower leg injuries are happening, and they weren't happening in the past. It could also be everybody's faster, everybody's bigger, everybody's stronger, and things like that. But what can the league do, and what could the sport of football in general do to kind of minimize all these injuries? I think, yes, going to grass, it would probably be the best thing. Odell Beckham came out and said it's the turf. And it's MetLife Stadium has been known for having very bad turf. It's like it's known around the league and in the country that, MetLife's turf sucks. So I think that is definitely something that the league should look into, about potentially going back to grass. Even if you have to bite the bullet, figuring out ways to cover it, to get the income, like the concerts and things of that sort that these stadiums can do. I think they just have to figure out how to get it done, because I do think that it needs to change, because protection of the players is at an all-time high, but let's get that ball rolling a little more, and let's really protect the guys. You guys are making, like Joe Burrow said, you're getting paid handsomely for what you're doing, but the risk is a lot higher for the NFL than kids playing high school football. Not saying that the risk isn't there, because obviously the risk is there no matter what you play, no matter what sport you play, especially football. So it's kind of like, what can the league do? And I think going grass is, the biggest thing that the league can do right now is looking into, does grass make that much of a difference? And if so, it just has to change.
Right. So speaking about that, do you think you have a kid, right? Let's say in a few years you have your first kid. And then how young, with this knowledge about concussions and having concussions in your past, how young would you let your kid play tackle football? Like, what's the age you're like, okay, you can go play tackle right now?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that, because I was having this conversation the other day with somebody, and it was, I played football since I was 7, tackle football since I was 7, I flag at 6. I don't know if I would let my son play football as young as I did. I think I would let that decision be their decision. But, I know I think the Mannings have come out and said that, they weren't allowing their kids to play tackle football until they got into an older age. I'm not opposed to that, especially the way flag football is now. Flag football kind of is changing the game, in my opinion. I think it's making the game faster. I think it's, making bigger guys more agile. Like, you're seeing these offensive linemen run these fast-ass 40s, having like these crazy verticals, like Evan Neal, the offensive lineman from Alabama, the Giants drafted,
athletic,
like a jump split. I don't know if he played flag football. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I think what flag football does is it's creating a different way of football. It's creating people to have to run. I mean, obviously offensive linemen pull and things like that, but I think for me, I would probably wait, I don't know, maybe middle school to let my kids play tackle, honestly, and that could change, if they're begging me, dad, I want to play, especially being a coach, they'll be around the game. I'd say middle school is a good age right now. I don't want to ruin youth football because I do think that, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds can play tackle if they're taught the correct form. But then again, then you have the conversation of youth football coaches are living their dream through these kids, and they're more worried about winning. Like, I look at youth football as like, teach the kids how to play football the right way, teach them how to tackle, teach them how to block, teach them how to throw, teach them how to run, and then by the time they get to middle school and high school, they're already set. But I'm not, for me, I'd say middle school for my kids. Let them play, but they will be playing flag, and that's as soon as we start throwing the football, I hope that they want to start playing. Then we'll just start playing flag, and then once they are ready, and then once me and whatever are ready to kind of let them go, then we let them go. How about you? What are you thinking? Especially you're in the NFL. It's a little different for you. You've been playing a lot longer.
I would say my kid ain't playing until later into middle school years. We'll play flag, obviously. But I think flag teaches you the fundamentals of how to tackle. Closing to the hip, focusing on the hip, because that's where you got to pull the flag. Yep. So then it's gonna translate in some different ways, like you're saying, into playing tackle. But definitely, I started playing football when I was 5. So, not happening.
Yeah,
definitely
right?
Not happening.
Just the way the whole game is going right now.
Yeah, and some youth football coaches don't know the proper techniques. And I'm not about to put my son out there and he don't even know how to spell, Saraville, or, he doesn't know how to spell, he doesn't even know how to talk for himself. Once you get into that, 12, 13, 14, you at least know how to articulate, or, a sentence with someone who's grown. If they're telling you to do the wrong thing, I'm going to tell my dad about this because he's gonna know if this is right or wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you seeing these videos online of kids doing Oklahoma drills. They're like, their helmets are bigger than them.
They're like walking sideways.
There's no reason in the world why anybody needs to do Oklahoma drills.
No way. When we were younger, they were fun. I'll say that.
They were fun. It's fun.
But now looking at it,
people, if you think about it, it was fun to watch people get ran over or smacked.
Yeah. If you were running somebody over or trucking somebody, that was fun. And it's still fun watching those videos. But then you think about the health perspective of that. Your head's getting jolted back and probably hitting the ground really hard. That's how I got my last concussion. My head hit the ground. It wasn't even like I was hitting somebody. It's the head hitting the ground caused a lot more concussions than we can even understand.
I would say late middle school years.
Late middle school. So we can agree on middle school.
Yeah, I would say at least 2 years before high school.
Yeah.
Get them comfortable, tackling, doing all that stuff, all that. So I would say at least 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
That's my final answer.
Now, speaking about flag football, what's your thoughts on flag football kind of being like a new AAU basketball, a new travel baseball? These flag football tournaments are becoming huge. They're going viral all over social media. Cam Newton a couple years ago really getting his team going, and him being the coach, traveling around. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I think this is great for football. I think that it keeps kids involved. It keeps kids around the game. It keeps them, their knowledge of the game is getting stronger because they're around the game more. I'm not opposed to kids playing other sports. Don't get me wrong. Like, if you play basketball, if you play baseball, if you run track, if you wrestle, do all that. Continue to do all that. But I feel that this travel flag football that has really started in the high school ranks, I don't know how much it helps recruitment-wise. because how realistic is the 7-on-7 to a game. But you see these guys, these high, 5-star, 4-star guys playing in these flag football tournaments, just bagging people up top. These quarterbacks slinging the rock. I think it's great. I wish that we had this when we were coming up, because I would have played baseball, but in the summer I would have done baseball and football.
Right. I love it. I love it for the sport of football. But the one thing I don't love about it is what comes with it. Like all the stuff that happens on social media when people get caught on top of all
the
doing
extra
all this,
shit. Yeah.
Doing all that for social media. You're trying to get noticed. And I remember I saw the one video of the kid doing this, and then the kid like sneaks him. Well, they didn't really sneak him, punched him, and knocks him out. Like back in, when we played, if you put your hands with somebody in any type of way, you try to do anything, that's what usually happened. Like we was going, this game is over. Like let's just square up, let's fight.
Yeah.
Let's get this over with. Like I think that's what's kind of turning the game into more of a show, not so much of people trying to learn the different coverages. Like I was talking to Xavier X this what was it, Saturday, when we was walking back. He was like, he had a 7-on-7 at his last camp that he did back in Louisiana. He was like, I was telling this kid to play cover 2, and he was, trying to talk like he was the guy. He was that guy. He thought he was that guy. He was like, yo, in cover 2, you got the deep half. Why the next 2 plays later, they're in cover 2, the kid's in the flat, and they throw it deep, and he scores exactly. And all X said, he just pointed. Like that's you.
Yep.
But the kid didn't want nothing to do with it. So, I think there's pros and cons, but then, you get kids that are really good at flag that don't know how to read a coverage in real football.
Yeah.
It's totally different once that O-line and D-line get involved. And so it's,
I think, coaching has to do with that too, right? Would you say coaching kind of has, like, if you have the right coaches around you in a flag setting to not allow your team to do all that extra stuff and really teach them, all right, this is cover 2. This is what each person has to do. This is what the linebackers walling, corners hard flat, all the little things that you would learn on a football team 11-on-11. If you should be learning those little things when you're playing flag. And I think if you have the right coaches around you and you have the right system in place, now we're setting these kids up for success when they get to their high school teams or when they get to their college teams and things like that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I definitely agree. You definitely need the right system. You need the right people. You need the right mentors, because I feel like flag isn't about really the coaching, but about mentoring those kids because you're traveling. It's not like high school where you're going to play a home game or play an away game. It's like you're traveling to different tournaments. So your coach is more of a mentor because they're taking you out to lunch. They're taking you out to dinner. They're traveling with you to this hotel. They're more than just your coach and the X's and O's. But you need that mentor on that team that can mentor a couple. You don't need just one. You need like 2 or 3 that can mentor these young men into how to properly carry yourself on the road, how to properly carry yourself in the hotel, in a restaurant. Because more than likely, you're going to be away from your family. Or if your parents come, you're going to be with the team. So that coach mentor is the one who's going to be setting the rules, setting the standard for how we act on the road and how we do things. So, it's all about who's running the show.
For sure.
And do the kids respect that person. So you got to have somebody like that.
Yeah, because you're teaching them how to be a young man. A lot of these guys maybe not have ever traveled before. And like you said, in high school, you're playing where you're just taking a bus. When these travel tournaments, I was talking to Malachi Timberlake, coached on the 7-on-7, and he was going down to South Carolina, he was going down to Florida with his teams, and a lot of them didn't have the parents to go. They were taking a charter bus, and he was in charge of all of them. So he's got to make sure that they're checking in, make sure they're acting right in the hotel, make sure they're saying yes, ma'am, no, man. You teach them how to hold the door for people. You don't want to have that aura around the team where they're just a bunch of assholes that play football well. You want to be,
right.
They're great football players and they're great young men. And that's, I think that if we get more 7-on-7 teams like that, I think we're going to benefit the kids more. And because at the end of the day, it's all about the kids. It's not about the coaches. The coaches are there to help these kids learn and grow. Without them, without the coaches, a lot of these kids will be on the street. A lot of these kids will never play football or play a sport or whatever it is. So, I do think that, it's possible to do it the right way. You just have to find the right people.
Definitely have to find the right people.
All right, I got one more question for you.
What you got?
I gotta ask because it happened today, and I know it's probably sucks. Coach Rule, he got the axe, which sucks because I love Coach Rule. I think he's a great coach. I think he's gonna be up for a lot of coaching jobs in the future. But what's your thoughts on what's the vibes around the team? How did you guys take it? Talk to us a little about how today was. It's probably not the best day in the Carolina Panthers organization, but I'm sure there's some light you can shed on it.
Going through coaching changes is always tough. I did have a coaching change in college with Coach Freeze to Coach Luke, and you start to see who were his guys and who weren't his guys because they either leave with him or they're hired by the next staff or stuff like that. Today, it's you never want anybody to lose their job, and it's not always just the coach is the reason why he's losing his job. Everybody has a hand in that cookie jar. From the players not executing the calls to us not, the players not winning games to sometimes the coaches making the wrong calls. So everybody has a hand in a coach getting hired and a coach getting fired. Coach Rule is one of the main reasons why I'm here in Charlotte, so I appreciate him. And it's always tough. I see, you respect a man like Coach Rule because of the fact of we come out for the game. They call everybody's names. They do this, they do that, and then they say your head coach, Coach Rule, and then the stadium boos him, and he's just like, all right, let's play football. You know what I'm saying? Or the whole time they're like, fire your Rule, and then you're like, and he's just not fazed. He's just like, let me just keep focusing on this game. To come up in front of us every day and have the same message and never really waver from who he was, even during the times when people saying he sucked as a coach, when 2 years ago they were, begging him to come to Charlotte. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, the fan, it's just like a player. The fans build you up, and if you're not executing to that level, they tear you right back down.
For sure.
Again, he's a great coach. He'll get another opportunity. Coach Snow has gone to our defensive coordinator, so we're surprised about that one. And then
a lot of changes.
But it's a business. NFL is a business. So is college football is a business. I hope nothing for the best for them. And maybe I'll see them another day if it's playing football, or if I get into the coaching realm, I might hit up Coach Rule like, yo, coach, I need a job. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we talking about we thinking about the coaching now? What?
No. I was just saying, Myles does not want to coach. It's cool. But it's never an easy day, never an easy week, really, that first week, because then you're trying to grasp what that, our interim coach is trying to do. And the interim coach was actually my position coach, so it's going to be like he's a head coach, so he's going to be talking to other positions. It's just going to be weird to see how it's going to shape out these next few days of who's going to be coaching us, defensive coordinator, who's going to, DB coach, stuff like that. So
okay,
I just, at the end of the day, it's my job to go out there and execute, to the best of my ability, do my job, help the team win. Because at the end of the day, the goal is still to win a game, to keep winning games. So at the end of the day, that's going to be my goal every week, to go out there and get the W. So it is what it is for me. But I wish nothing but the best for Coach Rule and appreciate the opportunity he gave me here.
Hey, and that's a great mindset to have because any coaching change is not easy, and the fact that you've kind of dealt with a coaching change in the past, like you spoke about in college, you handled that the right way, and seeing Coach Rule leave now and then having your position coach, the mindset is there, and now it's just taking day by day. Like you said, execute when you have to execute, be where you got to be when you got to be there, and nothing really changes for you. You keep doing what you do and keep balling, because at the end of the day, balling's all you got to do.
That's all I know, man.
Yes,
all
sir.
I know. I'm just trying to get better every single day, every single game.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Hey, this is a good episode. I'm glad we I hate that our schedules kind of always mix up a little. You're in Charlotte, me back in Jersey, both in season. It's not an easy time to do a podcast together, but we keep finding time. We keep finding ways. We keep figuring it out, and that's all we can do. We just want to keep bringing as much content to our fans as possible. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. What you got for them to end it?
Take it day by day, hour by hour, and just get better. 2%. What is it? 2% better every day, right?
2% better daily. That's what we do. Hey, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Why?
Because we all friendly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Off season.
All men are created equal. Some just work harder during the off season.
Let's work.